Welcome to the Let's Talk Mobility podcast. This is season finale, so let's look back on the best moments of the season. Let me start first with COP28. What do you think of this convention? How do you view it from an automotive perspective?
Of course, I value a lot that there's this moment when the whole world actually concentrates on one of the most important topics of these times, and climate change is something that we can address, that we can stop and change climate change. And I think COP generally is a good moment for us to think about how far are we and what do we do about it. You see, normally it's always for us coming to a car show, wherever, and introducing the idea about sustainable transportation and how in a luxury segment we can drive that and lead it. And we have to introduce it, make people kind of shake them up and make them aware of this. Here in a setting of COP28, it's a natural ground where people are, of course, fully concentrated on that topic. So it's a very good base and platform to not only talk about beautiful, great design and great cars, but actually talk as well about how you can use these great products to drive change to sustainability. Poster 2 started with 26 tons of CO2 burden the moment we bring it to the customer. Today, 2 years afterwards, we brought it down already to 23. A poster 3, a poster 4 will come with only 20 tons CO2 burden. So you see, ton after ton, we are getting closer to that goal. The poster 3, the SUV for the electric age. I mean, it has that thing about bringing you what you love, the high seating position, that kind of great grand vision in this extremely futuristic, avant-garde, aerodynamic shape. It sticks out. I mean, when you see the car in the traffic, it's like, wow, what's this? When we bring, I really would love to have this plurality. On one hand, having SUVs, of course, in this modern shape, but as well promoting the greatness of being in a sporty, low ground-hugging GT. When we 2025, the poster 5, we was bring that experience. That you actually, I'm looking forward to drive that. It's such, you have to give me a promise that I will be one of the few people to drive it first. I will absolutely make that
possible.
Totally. It's, come up to the north, come and drive one of our prototypes. It's exactly that thing. You get into that car, you sit behind that steering wheel, and it gives you, even if you're not moving, if this is a feeling of, wow, this is an awesome beast.
We also asked the people what their thoughts are about this, and here is what they had to say.
Do you believe that a car can be zero emission? Of course, we're in a journey. We are developing ourselves. Technology will come. We are progressing, and I think we're going to make it.
A car can be zero emission. You believe that? I don't believe it, honestly. Yes, I think it can be, but it's difficult because I think it depends on where we're getting the energy that powers the car.
What's your car? Is it petrol, electric, or hybrid? Petrol, but most likely we'll transition it to a hybrid.
Petrol.
My car is petrol.
I drive petrol.
Right now my car is petrol.
My car is electric.
Can you elaborate more about where do we stand with electrifying such machines?
So we have as an ambition to become net zero by 2040. And to do that, we have committed to the science-based targets, and we have set interim targets for 2030. That means that we need to understand where our emission comes from. So when we look upon a value chain, we can see that more than 95% of our emissions actually come from the use phase, so when our products are in use. And that is why electrification is such an important part of our strategy to decarbonize, because that's what's going to make the big difference for trucks and buses on the road if we can electrify them. And that we do either via battery electric driveline or a fuel cell electric driveline that is to come a little bit later this decade.
Our viewability to the cities, we've seen that the green public transportation, it's not there yet. There is so much room for improvement towards public transportation. What discussion can Volvo Group expect on this?
I think that, first of all, I think public transportation in itself is actually a sustainable solution. It's better than everyone going in their own car. So in that sense, it is sustainable. But then, of course, we're working on different solutions to electrify. So we have sold hybrid buses since 2008. We have sold electric buses for cities for more than 10 years. And as the Volvo Group, I think our biggest role is that we can help cities, operators, authorities, governments, etc., to help them to understand what is needed really to electrify their bus fleet, if we take that as an example, to set up a public transportation system. So we are in many different types of dialogues on this topic.
Fredrika, from your own perspective, can you give me a glimpse of your role, your responsibilities, the challenges that you're facing day by day?
My work is really to secure that we all focus on what matters, what really drives impact. Because when it comes to sustainability, it can be about everything and nothing. And, we hear a lot about companies, trying to really market themselves in how they work with sustainability. But what we really want to do is be radically transparent, talk about, where we are challenged, not only when we succeed, but also when we are challenged and when we hit hinders. Because we believe that in doing so, we can really become, again, constructive and start figuring out problems and really, really bringing out solutions that are of value to us as a company and to our consumers. But it means that we need to focus on what really, really matters and what drives impact. We got this. We have the solutions. Because I do think there are a lot of voices that would like for people to feel discouraged, to feel like, sustainable development means going back, means, doing less or compromising with your way of living. But we know that, it's the opposite. Sustainable development is progress for everyone, for business, for your everyday person, for institutions. Everyone will benefit from true sustainable development.
Did you know that electric scooters exist? Of course, I do know electric scooters exist because many of my friends do have electric scooters.
No, I heard about e-cars, but not about e-scooters. This is the first time I'm seeing it in reality.
Yes, I know electric scooters exist.
Yes, of course, I know they exist, and I believe there are ways to rent them here in Dubai. I wanted to know more about rivers, e-scooters. What brought the idea of founding an e-scooter company?
We wanted it to become more than electric scooter. We wanted it to solve day-to-day problems for consumers around us. And that is how we zeroed in on a particular use case called utility. And we reimagined a scooter if utility were to become a lifestyle. And that's how we created this new segment called utility lifestyle in the Indian market for two-wheelers. People use them every day to run the chores, to go to work, to drop your kids to school, and every other possible thing, to pick up groceries, etc. So a scooter is very much a part of the day-to-day life, and there is a lot of utility around a scooter. Now, at the same time, India is a very young country. There are a lot of young people, and people who are very conscious of their style, people who are very conscious of their personality, people who are always searching for avenues to reflect their personality or the things that they use, the clothes they wear, the vehicles they ride. So how do you combine the functionality that a scooter is required and reflect the personality that the young Indian stands for? That is the right mix of functionality and individuality, creating a utility lifestyle altogether.
Do you think children in the future will be driving electric cars?
Yeah, absolutely. I think in the future, electric cars will be the default for everyone, so also for my children.
Absolutely. As of now, we're already starting to transition towards EVs. And for now, this is done at an individual level.
I think so, because the adoption rate is so quick nowadays. I think eventually the traditional petrol car will be gone, and then more people will be driving an EV for sure.
What's the differences between climate action and sustainability? So I work on sustainability in general, and it's a common question. What does that really mean? And if you go to Google, for example, they define it as
meeting your needs without compromising the needs of future generations. So me and my team's job is to translate what that means for the company. So in simple words, it's really about minimizing the environmental impact we have and to contribute to society. In a more professional wording, it is that we want to be pioneers in protecting people and planet. So that in turn then boils down to a number of different questions that you need to address. Climate, obviously, but it's also about water protection, waste management, energy efficiency, biodiversity, how you treat your employees, human rights, and how you contribute to a society. So it's a long agenda. And these days, these matters are extremely important for Volvo and for other companies. But it's in essence, the way the job we do is making the company more competitive.
So what we're saying in climate, we say that that's the highest priority within sustainability. We have plenty of other priorities as well, but we recognize that car companies have been a major problem in terms of climate change. So we need to be part of the solution. Science is very clear. The global stocktake report that UN released earlier this year was very clear on that. The best way to reduce emissions from transportation is to electrify. We have a plan to fully electrify, and that's the key step to reduce climate impact from cars. But of course, we need to do a lot more. So my responsibility is to ensure that we take a scientific approach to reducing emissions from car making and car driving as fast as possible.
What do you need to do more to protect the environment?
You need to get rid of carbon as much as possible.
Definitely switching to electric vehicles will help.
The future is the electric car.
نقدر ان احنا نقلل سيارات خالص ونستخدم المترو ونستخدم الترينز.
We need to commute less. We need to look at more hybrid options. The first step is to really reappreciate the environment, is to reconnect with it.
In the span of the 23 years, how do you view now the attention towards environment and nature compared to the beginning, to the early start?
I mean, as everything, it's changed and it's enhanced. I mean, we've seen policies coming at the federal level, at the municipality level, at the emirate level. I guess it's been really sped up. And I think it really is part and parcel because we know that the science is there that's saying that we need to move faster. We have a very limited time to tackle the climate challenge. We know that by 2030, we need to reduce global greenhouse gas emissions by 43%. We know that climate is warming. We've already seen 1.2 degrees of warming globally. In the UAE, 1.8 degrees of warming has already been observed.
1.8.
1.8. But also, how can we protect nature? Because we know nature is our biggest ally in this climate change challenge, because nature can store carbon, can protect ecosystems, can enhance resiliency. So how do we do that in a very, very quick way is essentially what we all have to do. For me, what I see as the big opportunity also is commercial EVs. So I read a study recently by a big think tank that said that actually commercial electrification is one of the biggest opportunities to displace commercial EVs. Yeah, it could contribute to displacing one of the most important segments in terms of displacing fossil fuel demand or fuel demand. Because currently, I think there's a lot of focus on passenger vehicles. We're seeing a lot of that, focus here. We got good penetration year on year for EVs for the passenger sector. But globally, I think one of the biggest opportunities is making sure that we speed up the commercial EV transition to make sure that, vans, trucks, either, heavy duty, light duty, medium duty are also transitioned. So that's exciting. And I think, it's not only the perspective of carbon emissions. I want to bring to the point you asked about percentages. Transportation and mobility becoming green also has an impact on air pollution. So the more that we reduce tailpipe emissions, so what comes out of the tailpipe, has an impact on air pollution, has an impact on health. And I think those are some often benefits that we forget that are quite immediate as soon as you start electrifying.
Do you think it's a good idea to convert old used petrol cars into electric cars?
Of course, it's very good for the environment. I think it's great.
Yes, of course, it will save the cost.
It's a great idea. I think it's a great concept.
It is good because we'll have a lot of mechanical waste.
Well, that's what we're heading at, right, in the future. So, yeah.
بحس إنه لازم تتغير لأنه saving much more money.
Salman, let's immediately start our discussion. What is Fuse?
Fuse started 2 years ago as a concept in our head. What if we took, classic cars
and turn them into electric. Now, it's not something novel. I have seen this happen in the US, in UK. And the early cars that they were trying were Volkswagen Beetles, and some of those early Volkswagen models were quite easy to do. So we took that concept and we thought, why don't we bring that with a unique twist to Dubai? The weather is different, so we had to make a lot of changes to the systems, but we thought we could do it. So 2 years ago, me and my co-founder, Mihai, decided to bring actually a whole system from California, bought a vehicle from here, and took out a loan, and we decided, let's build this. And the reception was quite good. People loved what they were seeing. They'd never seen something like this in their life. If you look at the vehicles on the road, we have 1.4 billion vehicles existing. Pretty much all of them are petrol at the moment or diesel. Taking that stock and making it an electrified version of them through a fuse kit or any other kind of kit like this makes sense, because 30% of the production of the vehicle's carbon emissions actually come from the steel body and all the things, because steel also has to be mined from ore, and that has a cost, even though we like to talk about batteries. So inherently there's about 30% less carbon emissions that would come from electrifying a vehicle than to buy a brand new vehicle of the same type, and that's the target gap that we're looking for. If we're trying to match net zero targets, which is what now in 2050 means only 26 years, because we're in 2024. We need to make drastic changes in this sector to be able to decarbonize our transport and to be able to offer lower costs. Will drive down our carbon emissions today rather than having to wait until 5 years down the line or 10 years down the line when we have viable alternatives. So our aim is to bring a lower carbon emission solution today to be able to decarbonize today.
Have you participated in any sustainable activities like cleaning beaches or planting trees?
Planting trees, yes.
Yes, of course, not in Dubai, but yeah, in my own country, I do this.
We have a planting tree initiative, but that's planned for May.
I did long time ago, yeah.
بننظف الشواطئ وبننظف الشوارع كمان.
I do. I actually recycle at home on a daily basis.
Shadow will make a huge difference for the pedestrians, for everyone.
It does. And actually now if you look at the new plans for the built environment on how we should build cities, trees are very important. And there is research showing that the more trees we plant, we are able to reduce the temperature of the cities by 2 to 4 degrees sometimes. So it is very, very important. The gav tree does have a huge canopy that makes an important shade, but also the great benefit of gav trees is that they bring a lot of wildlife back into the city. When you plant a gav tree, you will have immediately back birds, insects, butterflies. So it is a tree that not only plays an important role in terms of beautification and shade, but also in terms of biodiversity.
In the recent years, personally, I've seen several automotive manufacturers, they've been using these materials not only to build floors or cladding, they've been using it in the seats of the car. From your perspective, how do you view it?
I think it's the future. We need to think circular in everything we do. So it goes from the table we use every day, from our clothes, all the way to the automotive sector. So in a car, you have so many things that can be, remanufactured or being manufactured out of recycled materials, from the seat cover to the aluminium, for example, the plastic. Also, I want to point out something about plastics. There's a huge awareness on plastic pollution, and I think it's important to highlight the fact that some plastics are very hard to recycle, the thin ones, the single use, but other plastics are very valuable. And when we're talking about durable materials that we use for cars, for example, for computers, the hard colored plastic has a future in circular economy. It is a material that can be reused and recycled for a long time. So in the cars, this is a perfect example. Then we can also look at the batteries. Batteries are a bit, for example, for EVs, a bit of a tricky question, right? On how do we source all those minerals that are needed? But if we think circular, we know that then this can become a closed loop where we won't have to mine anymore for raw materials. So yes, definitely it's a solution.
Can you please highlight to me if there is more initiatives coming out from Gumbuk?
Another campaign we've launched is related to indoor air quality. It's called Take a Breath. And again, it's looking at us living into closed environment. We spend almost 90% of our time indoors, be it at work, in the gym, with our families at home. And we are very afraid about outdoor air. We look if the air quality is good, if there's a sandstorm, if it's too hot or too humid. But somehow we don't have that habit of actually thinking, how's the air that I breathe every day in my office or at home? So now we're working again with the Ministry of Climate Change, who's officially endorsed the campaign, to measure indoor air quality in schools. We have now 41 classrooms where we are looking at the quality that the children breathe. And we're doing the same with our corporate partners to really raise awareness about the importance of indoor air quality, how it affects our life, our productivity.
Do you think Chinese brands have a perception issue?
It was.
It's a good option to get Chinese car.
I was, to be honest, contemplating buying a Chinese car.
That is there in people's mind of the quality aspect, but now I think it is changing.
الصيني لحد ما الناس بتبعد عنه.
No, I have my Chinese car.
فيها فخامة لكن تعرف مثل ما تقول الناس دائما تمشي على صيني.
When we're talking about R&D, like, do you have figures in your mind, like how much money BYD are spending in research and development in general?
It's roughly 5% of the income.
5%?
Yeah, we put into R&D. Currently, we have more than 100,000 R&D engineers working on different fields. We have 11 institutes for the raw material, for the process study, the car design, and even the battery design, motor design, all those in-house design institute in total.
And the whole team, the 100,000 members, they're only dedicated for BYD Automotive, or they're dedicated for the whole group?
As a whole group.
As a whole group.
Yeah, but we are the fully integrated, vertical integrated company. So like I mentioned, we have a battery institute. We have the motor study. We have a car design for sure. So those are the joint efforts. Today the best sales is the we call Song Plus DMI. It's a plug-in hybrid. It's around 40% of our sales come from this model.
Okay.
So like I mentioned before, this model is can reach 4.5 liter per 100 kilometer. And then fully charged, full tank gasoline can drive up to 1,000 kilometer. So this is quite good saving.
What do you mean by vertical integration?
Vertical integration, simply say in the car is like the glass and the tire. We make most of the parts in-house. So this is give us a chance to control the cost. Supply chain, and then have a improvement of the products. If you rely on the industry, firstly, we are starting this business 20 years ago. There's no industry at all, no supply chain. So you have to develop those things from zero, by yourself. So one by one, we build our own technology and know-how and all those production. So by this situation, even you want to find an outside supplier or partner to work with you, not possible. Or if you find somebody really suitable, but take long time, maybe 3 years, 5 years to develop a new model. But if everything in-house, we can do that in 2 years, even 1 year.
When you're responsible to develop and research for every single part, you don't think that this will take energy, cost, and time, and it will lead to a certain place where it's much cheaper and easier if you just get it from a vendor from abroad?
Innovation inside upgrade very fast. Half a year, 1 year, you have new thinking, new idea, new technology you want to implement. So if you do in-house, you can combine all the resource to make things happen fast. But you rely outside, well, it slow down the speed. But to reach a certain level, everything stable. At that moment, you are right. To have an outside resource to combine together, have a much better cost control. But at this moment, vertical integration is important for us.
Thank you, Eddie, very much for your time. And this will be our season finale, a full season of Let's Talk Mobility. We went through a journey starting from COP28. I highly recommend you guys to re-watch some of our favorite episodes. We've met with Polestar Management, with Volvo Group, with Fuse, today with BYD, with several of people who made a huge movement in the automotive and mobility industry in general. Stay tuned. Looking forward for season 2 of Let's Talk Mobility, inshallah, very soon. Thank you very much for watching. And before leaving us, don't forget to subscribe to Al-Futtaim Automotive channel. And if you're one of our podcast listeners, don't forget to like our Spotify account. Thank you very much for watching and looking forward to see you in season 2. Bye-bye.